Well, hi everyone, and welcome to our Monday night skills call. As you guys know, we for the last, I think, 4 or 5 weeks, we've had guest trainers on and just been wanting to open it up for you guys to learn from so many incredible leaders that are out there. And so I got the honor of training with Laura's team like 2 weeks ago. And I think Heather did last week, maybe. And so I was like, absolutely, you have to return the favor for me. So I am so excited for you guys to meet and learn from Laura. And so Laura has been in Arbonne for 9 years. She came from commercial insurance from her 9 to 5 job. She's married for 5 years, has a 5-year-old daughter, 16-year-old stepson. I like this. Loves to laugh with friends on a patio, sipping a beverage. Like that is my kind of girl. You guys know how much I'm like that. She's earned 3 AITs, and you guys all know that AIT launched yesterday, which everyone's so excited about. She's earned 3 of those and an MVP challenge trip that she got to share with our own Shannon Wenzel. So they became friends on that trip. And so like she knows how to earn trips. She knows how to get to the top of this company. She knows, sorry, I'm multitasking still. She knows how to lead a team, and she is going to share all of that with you guys now. So I'm going to give you as much time as possible. So do your thing, Miss Laura.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me. And you guys, just like Tori said, Tori and Heather fully poured into my team this month, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. So returning the favor it's a pleasure, and it's the Arbonne way. So when Tori messaged me and was like, hey, could you talk to my team too? I was like, absolutely, because also it's growth for me. It's growth for me to tell my story. It's growth for me to talk about the things that I should be doing as well, and to share my experiences with this business. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got here and how I kind of grew in the company. But then I'm also going to give you some tips at the end. So like Tori said, my name is Laura Savelli. I'm a national vice president and a proud independent consultant with Arbonne. And my Arbonne journey started actually about 9.5 years ago, because my best friend, Ashley Stanfield, who is an ENVP in Arbonne, she started her Arbonne business, which I fully thought was like a pyramid scheme. I remember feeling bad for Ashley and being like, what happened? She was so smart and pretty, and now this is what she's doing. Like, this is so sad for her. But on the other hand, I was successfully living an average life. So I was newly married to my first husband when I had heard about Arbonne. I was living paycheck to paycheck with my corporate job, and I was in insurance before. And honestly, you guys, I was in insurance because my mom was in insurance, my sister was in insurance. We all did different insurance. My mom was life, my sister was health, and I did commercial. And so I thought I was on the right path. I was like already like, yes, I'm checking the boxes, you know? My version of eating healthy at the time was having an apple and a Diet Coke for lunch. And I was just like a hell no with a huge ego, basically. I didn't know what I was saying no to, but I knew it wasn't for me. But about a year into my marriage, I had found out that my husband was not being faithful. And I had intercepted a text message, and I basically didn't know necessarily like what my next move was and what I was going to do. And so I did decide to go through a divorce, and I moved back home, which is Sacramento, California, Northern California. And I lived with my parents again, which I know sounds so sad, but it was actually excellent. It was probably one of those like defining 6 months of my life. And it wasn't how I envisioned my life at the time at 33. And so around that time is when Ashley, my best friend from high school, we went to college together, she circled back with me and she was like, friend, like, please take a look at this. And it wasn't like it was pretty obvious that Ashley was thriving in this business. Like she was already driving the white Mercedes. She was making new friends and meeting people and like happy. And it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, I feel like I need to jump on board because you're kind of moving quickly here and I need to stay ahead of this. And so I was at the time circling a drain. I was not knowing. I mean, it's not like I wasn't getting out of bed in the morning, but I was definitely not in my healthy habit era at all. And so I needed way more. Like I needed more money. I needed more time. I needed more positive people in my life. I needed better self-talk. I needed more friends. I needed like to be taking better care of myself, eating better, healthy relationships, healthy self-talk, the whole thing, right? Like that's what I was needing. And I was feeling like what Ashley was offering me was like not for me, even though it was exactly what I was asking the universe for. So I decided to say yes in March of 2016, and I've never looked back. Like, obviously, you got to be obsessed to do this forever. And so I promoted pretty quickly in this business. I was a district manager my very first month. I was an area manager after month 3, and I was a regional vice president after month 9. And honestly, the reason why I felt like I could move that quickly was because I had evidence from Ashley. Like I knew and I trusted Ashley. So it was like, well, if she can do this, then I can do this because I know it's real because she's doing it. So now I know I can do it and I'll just apply what she says. And so I had arrived when I got to region. Like I was driving the white Benz. I was only taking care of myself, living with my parents, right? So I was like financially well off. And it was really the first time in my life that I had like felt that. And I met, an amazing man. Everything that I had set out to do in this business, my like first why, was taken care of within the first year. And it was very much like, I accomplished this. Me. I was like, I was only worried about my journey and my success, my needs. And my team was also here wanting what I was having, And so I needed to somehow shift the focus from me and help my team. Because I was making it impossible for my team to grow if I was just kind of not stagnant, but just happy where I was. So I sat at region for about 2.5 years, which I mean, isn't a long time, but it is a long time when you're not self-developing and you're not doing the work that it took to get to region. I wasn't reading. I was actually, to be 100% honest, I was going backwards in my business. Like once I had got there and felt like I had done it, I started kind of settling and moving backwards. And so I wanted to promote to nation. Like I would say I wanted to promote to nation, but I wasn't doing the activity that I knew would get me there. I wasn't even doing the activity that got me to where I was. So I would listen to trainings and calls, and I would always I remember thinking like, gosh, if this person on my team could only be hearing this training right now, like things would be different. And it's like, no, this training is for me. Like I have to move different. This isn't for the person on my team that I'm like, if they only did this, if everyone only hit, 2,500, their building block, like that kind of thinking was what was keeping me where I was. And so I needed to move differently, and I understood that it was up to me. And so I guess when impact hits my life, that's when I move. I know a lot of people, I know that we hear prepare for impact. But for me, it's like impact hits and I move, it's like I don't know what to do until I know exactly what to do. And it wasn't until October of 2018, I know this seems like kind of far back now, but I've been here for a long time. I got a phone call October of 2018 from a hospital in Santa Barbara. And I used to live in San Luis Obispo. So if you guys know California, these are kind of close cities. And And I found out that my ex-husband, who I had not spoken to since our divorce, and our divorce was real quick and easy, I found out that he was in a car accident and he wasn't going to make it. And I just remember feeling like, oh my gosh, like I was nauseous. I was sad. I had regret. I regretted that I never spoke to him again. And I also regret that I wasn't able to tell him that I had moved on, or that I was okay, or that, like that didn't define me anymore, which again, I probably didn't need to say to him, but there was regret there. And I just remember feeling like this is not how I'm going to live. Like I am going to live intentionally. I am going to move forward with purpose. And I'm going to tell people that I love them. I'm going to say I'm sorry to people when I'm sorry. Like there's no more me not living authentically. Like I feel so uncomfortable, with Mike's death. I gained a lot of clarity there. And then I just felt like all of this sudden I was so privileged, and I was so uncomfortable sitting where I was sitting in this business, knowing that I could do more and that I could be helping other people in a way that I hadn't really put forth yet. So it was time for me to pop the lid off and vibrate at a much higher frequency. And when I did this, everyone on my team did this too. So it wasn't my words that I was saying before were like, gosh, if everyone could just do what they were supposed to do or what I was teaching them. It was like, no, I have to start over. I have to show them again. I have to do this every single day forever, because honestly, we know that this whole business is about the journey. Like there's no outcome. Like whatever your outcome is, you're eventually going to move the bar forward again. So the whole thing is to fall in love with the journey. I booked activity. So my team booked activity. I had leaders emerging on my team because I was emerging as a new leader, and they were finding their voice, and it was undeniable, especially at the time. Like at the time, I felt like we weren't popping nations as quickly as we were in the previous years. And so that was a very defining moment of my life, was these two impacts, the divorce and then the death. Okay, so there were so many gifts that were given to me while all of that sob story was happening. I was intentionally manifesting my future while this was happening. And I know we've all created vision boards, or I'm assuming we have. And I just remember one night, this is now January of 2019, and I was at an executive regional vice president on my team. I was at her house. She was hosting a vision board night for her team. And generally on these nights, like I'm not doing a whole lot of work. I'm generally like sipping my champagne and eating cheese and, walking around and making people laugh. And, but on this night, I decided to do a vision board. And I'm saying this because we're getting to the vision board season, right? We're getting into January, where we might be thinking about what we want to have happen in 2025. And honestly, you guys, manifesting and manifestation is so powerful. And this is what happened in 2019 for me. So I spent 2 hours making this vision board. I went through the magazines, and I literally in 2 hours could not find more than 4 pictures. And I wasn't feeling bad about it because, again, I was chatty Cathy, but I also didn't want to force more onto my board that wasn't authentic, where sometimes you're like, all of a sudden like, oh, that's a cute picture, I'll just put that on there too. And this was what was on my 2019 board. The letters MVP, like across the middle. I had a solitaire diamond engagement ring. I had a pregnant belly, and I had a dream house. These were the 4 things in my life that I was like, this is what I'm manifesting. This is what my goals are. This is what I'm focusing on. Like, these are the things. And I knew it was an ambitious board with very life-changing goals, but I also knew that I wasn't in this business to play small. So it was like, this is it. This is the year, and this is what I see, and this is what I want. And so this is how 2019 rolled out. It makes me emotional even to this day, and this is like 5 years ago. So April 8th of 2019 at roughly 11 a.m., I took a pregnancy test and it read positive. And in January was when I made the board. On April 30th at roughly 11:38 p.m., my team and I promoted to nation. On July 30th at roughly 8 a.m., my boyfriend, who's now my husband, proposed. We got married actually very shortly after, I would say like 3 weeks, because of the whole I was pregnant thing like that was happening earlier. And of course I love him so much, but our timeline was a little not traditional. And then a baby came in December. And then you guys, 2 years later, in April of 2021, my husband and I bought our first home. So every single thing on that 2019 board came to fruition, and kind of fast, you guys, kind of fast. And this isn't a coincidence. It is because I was believing in myself and I was putting the work in. Like I was doing both. I was believing and I was doing the work. So what that does is it puts me in a position to receive. And that's kind of where I wanted to go with some training or some steps. So I know that we talk a lot about consistency, but I want to talk about consistency over intensity right now, because the new trip came out. We're all going to be really intense, right? We're follow up. Oh my God, follow up with everyone who we've ever talked to because it's December 2nd. But you guys, the consistency is the thing. And so consistency creates momentum. You achieve success by consistently doing little things that help you towards accomplishing your larger goals. These little things every day will turn into a habit. And if we keep moving forward a little day by day, you'll gather the momentum to achieve any of your goals. The reason why most people are not consistent is because they tend to focus on the outcome more than the process. Like I said earlier, the journey is the thing. The outcome actually always changes. Basically, we are more drawn to the positive feelings of the outcome rather than the struggle of the journey. But you guys, the struggle is it. No one ever got something without the struggle. So if you're trying to avoid the struggle, that is where the magic is. The magic is in everything that you're avoiding right now. Most of us quit during the struggle because we can experience most of us quit during the struggle before we can experience the reward of staying the course. You guys, 1% of this company is national vice presidents, only 1%. But that isn't because there aren't more people that could be national vice presidents. Everyone could be, but there's something about the struggling to get there that turns people off. And that's the number one thing that we need to endure, or the thing that we really need to fall in love with, is that mundane every day. So the outcome is important because we need to know where we're going, right? But we can't become fixated on it because we know it's a moving target. Any outcome that excites you probably cannot be achieved without hard work and sacrifice over a long period of time. Like, it's not hard work and sacrifice for 3 months or for the month of December. It is over a long period of time. It is until, like, you do it until. It's not a fleeting thing. It is who you become. So that being said, I have put together some tips, like I said, about being consistent. And the first thing is to be present. Being present means fully being engaged at a task that's at hand. And that is something that could be anything that we do in Arbonne. It could be showing up to this Monday call. It could be going to GTC. It could be doing your reach outs every day. But you are present when you show up there. You are there. You are minimizing the distractions and you are getting the work done. Most importantly, being present means quieting your mind and things like, oh, nobody will read this post, or it won't matter if I miss this meeting, or I actually don't feel that good today, so I'm not going to do my reach outs. It's like your business does not care how you feel. If you want the results, you have to push through the feelings and you have to continue to show up and be present. If you aren't, let's say you aren't present and you decide that it's not a big deal if you don't go. 100% your team now understands that this isn't a big deal to not come to. And so you have to be the one, right? You have to be the one that goes first and does it best so that your team can do it also. They're not going to do it without you. They don't know what to do without you. Okay. The next is anticipate the dip. Anticipate it. Know what's going to happen. This is not this type of business. Like it is this. And so you have to know that a dip is going to come and that you're not going to quit when the dip comes. So most of us go into new endeavors believing that the path to our desired outcome is straight and clear. And the amazing thing is that we believe that even when we know better from past experiences, we're still believing that it's going to go, consistently up. There's a book actually called The Dip by Seth Godin, I believe. And he says anything worth pursuing will have a messy middle. And so maybe right now you guys are in a messy middle, like you might be, and it's totally fine. But if you anticipate it, then it's not going to be a shock and you're not going to feel like, well, this doesn't work, like throw in the towel. I thought that I was going to I was a district manager on month 1. And the fact that I'm not a national vice president means I'm not the person. Like that is not true, you guys. You are all the people because you're showing up, like you're doing it. You're doing exactly what it takes right now. Okay. Uninspired ? Uninspired? Do it anyways. So that's the third thing. Here is an example of what could be putting you in the dip. Okay. So let's say I wake up, I go into the kitchen and I make my tizzy. I get my phone out to start my reach outs. 30 minutes later, I still haven't done my reach outs, but I have started kind of scrolling through social media just because I just want to get an idea or spark some, the next thing I'm going to do. But then 30 more minutes goes by and I still haven't done any work and I'm still scrolling. This right here is the beginning of not making promises to yourself, right? So instead of waiting for inspiration, just show up messy, just do it. Just, you're uninspired, who cares? Just give the information. You don't have to be a magical unicorn talking about Arbonne every day. Like, just talk about Arbonne because you're you and people are watching you. They're following you. They're following you regardless. So you show up and worry less about the number of people that are liking your photo, liking your, like, the worst thing that could happen to you is that if someone were to ask you if you were still doing Arbonne, right? Like that would be the worst thing because that means, well, I'm not showing up. I'm not even doing my job. Like they don't even know that I'm doing this anymore, And so I basically said, like, if you're uninspired, work out anyways. If you're uninspired, you have to make dinner anyways. If you're uninspired, you have to show up anyways. It doesn't matter how you feel if you want this to work. Okay, let's see. There's never going to be a perfect time. So stop worrying about the perfect time, the perfect message, the way you look, the way, it's like, it doesn't matter. And honestly, people would rather see you being you than you being your upline, right? They don't want to see that you've changed into the person. They want to see you developing into you. And that's okay if you show up different sometimes. Like no one wants to see your highlight reel. They want to see your real life. Okay. Next is find an accountability partner, you guys. It's not necessary to broadcast your intentions to the entire world to hold them accountable. And you guys, I actually have been doing this recently because I just started working out again and I'm like doing Orange Theory and I'm like, oh my gosh, I did it again today. But it's like, just find an accountability partner that's actually going to hold you accountable. Like not your best friend if you guys are going to be like, oh, we don't have to do it today. Let's go get a drink. Someone that you admire that you maybe don't want to let down. And they might not even have to be an Arbonne. Like maybe it's your husband or maybe it's your mom or, whatever. But find someone that you can check into. It could be your kids and they're not going to let you off the hook because a lot of times those people are your why also. So it wouldn't feel good for you to say, doesn't really matter today. Okay, another thing I want to say, and the last tip is to forgive yourself and move on for whatever it is. whatever past thing you did, whatever you messed up on before, just forgive yourself and move on. Like, don't grovel in it. This one's actually really important because I feel like we beat ourselves up so much, and that throws us off of our game in a way where it's like we stop working. I know in my corporate job, I still had to go to work even if I messed up, but if I didn't have to, I wouldn't, you know? But in this business, you do. You do. Just forgive yourself and move on, because guess what? You're probably the only one that knows you messed up. No one else even knows, you know? Um, like sometimes people will resist setting goals. Like I actually have found this on my own team where people don't want to put stickies up because they are preemptly not wanting to let themselves down. And it's like, where is that coming from? Like, put the stickies up. It's not a letdown. Like, going for something is the thing. That's the journey. That's not the outcome. We're not focused on the outcome. The outcome will happen, you guys. I promise. I promise. I am not special. I just show up, and I show up a lot more than other people do. So if your goal was to reach out to 5 people every single day, don't worry about it if you missed a day. Like, reach out to one person, you know, get yourself back in the game constantly. If you're feeling out of the game, get yourself back in the game. If you missed a workout, go the next day or go for a walk. Like, anything you do will inspire you for more action. So the only way to be inspired by yourself is to do it messy and then to get better. Okay. So the last thing I want to say is that we are in a business where, or I'm sorry, we, in our life, we are conditioned that it's like, when I see it, or when I'll believe it when I see it, right? I'll believe it when I see it. That's how people think. That's actually like a saying. But you guys, it's the Christmas season. Like, what perfect time is it to think about how the magic is there before we see it? Like, we're believing first. It's not what we see, it's what we believe. Okay, so think about this. Believe in network marketing and this industry, because I'm going to tell you right now, there isn't anything like it. There's not one other job like it. And I have grown far more, made far more money, and read far more books and taken far better care of myself in this industry than I have at any other point in my life. Believe in Arbonne, you guys. Arbonne is the best network marketing company out there. There's no other product catalog that holds a candle to what we offer here. There's no other comp plan that is as generous as ours. And there's no other CEO or home office team that sticks their neck out like they do for us here. And then lastly, you guys, believe in yourself. You can do this. Not everyone can do this, but you can. You can do it, because guess what? You showed up. And I suggest you do it, because you have everything it takes in you to impact the lives of so many other people just by being you. Just by being you, it's showing other people that they can be them and they can do this too. And I wouldn't be here right now if that wasn't true. And then I hope you guys all have an incredible month. And I hope you took anything from this training, because the world literally needs you to hold the reins and step into your greatness. That's all I got for you, Tori.
Thank you so much. That was really, really inspiring. I love hearing people's stories and like how Arbonne like got introduced, and yours was typical in the way of, you know, the one thing that I wanted to go back, typical of the way that we hear a lot, like not interested, don't want to do it, but you were watching your friend, you were watching her, and you were watching her like just be excited about something and excel at something and be moving forward in life and not be doing the mundane. So even though you still had your like hand away, you were like, okay, well, this is kind of interesting. And then what she did also is she came back around and approached you again. And like, because things had changed. And so we always have to go back and revisit people, because life throws curveballs all the time. And I'm sorry that you got both of those awful curveballs, but you have an incredible life now. And And I love how you just like showed up and belief, and you were super inspiring and just such great tips. I just loved all of it. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And honestly, I just even appreciate you for asking me because
Oh
I
gosh.
feel like, one story might not be what someone else has gone through, but even if you met someone, or I'm sorry, even if you know someone that has gone through something hard, like I have a Discover Arbonne to send them. You know what I mean? Like just if today made you think of like your friend that you really wish was doing this with you, there you go. Reach out, send them my DA, and you're going to Tulum.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. And of course I'll have the recording up as soon as we get done here. So anybody that on your team that wasn't able to be on live, like make sure that they have that recording, because I never want people to miss anything, because there always is a nugget of information, an idea, an inspiration, something that you can pull from everything. And we wanted to have her, but we also do have a recording that we're going to post too about just earning AIT. But so we're going to get that up tonight for you guys as well. And so you guys have a lot of things to do. Now you have all the inspiration, and then you'll have a path to go on to finish up 2024 and just be building so much momentum into 2025. So thank you guys all for jumping on. I'm glad you had a great Thanksgiving and we're all back at it. And thanks again, Laura, for pouring into us tonight. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
All right, bye.